Hello, so today we're doing something a bit different this time. The spring 2025 anime season is coming to an end, and for the most part it's been a pretty good one, and I just wanted to recommend some shows from it that may or may not have gone underappreciated or slipped through the cracks, or just not, maybe you didn't notice they were even airing or that they were even worth watching. I just wanted to highlight some shows. Some of them are a bit more popular. Some of them are not really as talked about at all. Some of them are kind of a bit of a cult following already. But yeah, I'm a bit of a seasonal watcher at this point. So I'd like to say you can trust my opinions on these shows, and I've been watching seasonals for a while now and pretty used to the cycle and the slop that ends up coming out, and what to avoid and what not to avoid. But yeah, I'm planning to do this video. I want to keep it somewhat brief. I don't want to really yap on for too long, 'cause there's only so much I can talk about for a show that I don't want to spoil you on. But I want to basically introduce each show with a clip that I find compelling, or I think might hook you, or is just a standout part from the show that isn't too spoilery. Obviously, there's certain stuff will be unavoidable, but I want to make sure I can just play a clip to you guys out of context, and it maybe grab you, maybe not, but it's a clip that stood out to me and a clip that I would use to promote the show. So yeah, let's just jump into the first show. So the first anime I'm showing you is the Shoshimin series, also known as How to Become Ordinary. And this is season 2, and this is the only anime on this list that you do need to watch something else prior to checking this out. In the future I would rather just include originals or things you can just jump straight into, but I'd like to make an exception for certain things, and Shoshimin is definitely one of those shows I will gladly make an exception for. The director is Mamoru Kanbei, who hasn't worked on a whole lot of stuff as the head director or directing the entire show, but he has worked on The Promised Neverland, and similarly the composer Obata has also worked on The Promised Neverland. So, I mean, say what you want about season 2, but the direction and just the atmosphere and just the entire vibe that season 1 created through both the music and the directing and storyboarding and just the visual approach it takes is unique, and it hooks you. And Shoshimin does a similar thing, but it's a bit more cinematic, and that's not just because of the letterbox aspect ratio. It does have certain shots and ways of conveying things that you would see more often in movies than you would anime. And it's interesting because the premise of Shoshimin doesn't really suit that much at all, because it's just a very grounded, I mean the first season is very just grounded, kind of little mysteries here and there, similar to Hyoka, which is the author's other work. And it's just two characters solving these mysteries, solving these incidents around town, but they gradually get bigger and bigger and more serious, and the consequences get greater and larger, and they get involved beyond possibly what they should be involved, how they should be involved. But this is probably my favourite anime of this season, and it possibly might be my favourite of the year, excluding Avenujika, obviously. But this show is really, really impressive. Season 2 kind of steps things up and instead of focusing on these smaller, kind of concentrated little mysteries that don't have much impact on the grander scheme of things, we have 2 arcs split across the season, split across the one core season, and they're much more intricate and serious compared to the stuff that our main characters get involved in season 1. And this season is incredibly gripping for having, just similar to something like Monogatari, which is known for being a show that's just about talking. Shoshimin is kind of the same as that, and it is just as gripping in its dialogue, in its framing, in the mysteries themselves and how they're laid out, and how the mysteries are laid out in a way that gives you all the information from the perspective of the MC and the people who are involved, and doesn't kind of leave things out until the very end and all of a sudden they solve the mystery and then they're like, oh, but this thing happened, and it's like, well, I didn't know about this. There's no way I could have figured this out. In these mysteries that are portrayed here in Shoshimin, you can figure them out. And that's one of the best parts about it, because there were certain episodes in season 1 that I was able to figure out, certain episodes that I wasn't. In season 2, there's certain parts of it that I was like, oh yeah, I kind of expected that, and the certain parts like, oh wow, okay, this is an interesting direction they've taken it. And I think what is the best part of this anime is Hina Yumiya's performance as Osanai. And if you're familiar with the channel at all, if you just click on this channel, and the videos that I've made up until now are all Avimujika and Maigo related. Obviously Hina Yumiya plays Tomori in those shows, and the performance here is arguably just as good, because the way Osanai's character develops over the 2 seasons, and how you get to know her, and how she becomes more unnerving on screen. She manages to build herself such a presence on screen that I've never really seen for a character like that, and I can't really compare her character to anything else in that way. But this is probably my favourite show from this season for sure. I couldn't recommend it enough, and like I said, go watch season 1 first, and then obviously on to season 2, which it's just finished airing. But yeah, Shoshimin series, the 2nd season, my favourite show this season, and one that will naturally go maybe not as appreciated, but for those that do watch it and those that do appreciate it, it will be worth your time. I can guarantee that, for one way or another, whether it's the visuals or whether it's the mysteries and the characters. I mean, even the opening, the endings are gorgeous. So like the 2nd season opening, oh my god, probably the greatest opening this year, one of the greatest openings of this decade so far, easily. But yeah, let's just get on to the next anime.
ああ、来たか。遅くなってごめんね、クロちゃん。休日だったのに急な仕事が入っちゃって。ああ。クロちゃん？私の名前だよ。知らなかったのか、お前。へえ。この子がさとこちゃんね。あ、こんにちは。紹介するよ、さとこ。この人が恋人のゆり子。え？よろしくね。恋人さんって女の人だったんですか？あれ、言ってなかったっけ？知らなかった。リーダーって男の人だったんですね。女だよ。お前マジで私のこと何も知らないのな。
So this next show is Ninxkoro, or A Ninja and an Assassin Under One Roof, and I originally overlooked this show. I don't think I even started it until 3 episodes had aired, because I dropped some other stuff in the season and had some room. And the only reason I picked it up was because it is by Studio Shaft, with Miyamoto directing, who's a pretty seasoned director at Shaft, so I knew the visual direction, maybe even if the animation itself or the drawings might not be that consistent, I knew I could trust in the visual and comedic visual direction, and it basically is keeping me engaged as Shaft shows do. And I was really pleasantly surprised with this one, and it is what the title it expresses. Is it's a ninja and an assassin living together, with the ninja having grown up in this ninja village and not really having much exposure to the outside world, is kind of learning how to just function in society while also avoiding being constantly trying to be killed. And this series is a comedy. It is out and out a comedy as well. It is not ashamed to get absolutely ridiculous in its premises and ideas, and how much it will commit to the bit when it starts it. And there's a whole lot of stand-up episodes in this show. I'm not gonna give away on certain things they do in these episodes because they are very much episodic. But I can't. This is, for me, comedy anime are pretty hit or miss, and very rarely does anime kind of make me really laugh consistently. It's usually shows that aren't just comedy that I end up laughing at a lot, like something like Monogatari or Umamusume. I mean, even like My Go was really funny. It is when these shows are effortlessly funny and they execute jokes that don't feel forced or don't feel like, oh, here's the joke, here's a gap for you to laugh, and it just feels a bit awkward. It doesn't flow, it doesn't feel natural. But all the jokes and all the scenes in Ninxkoro does feel natural. Like the clip I showed you, that just kind of, it's a very kind of subtle, well, not subtle, but a low-key joke. It's not like exaggerated or played up to, but it's one that is funny, and especially it's funny in context given that our main character Satoko probably has no idea what lesbians even are. So this whole concept to her is new. But it can do these kind of lower key jokes while also doing more bombastic stuff and more in your face, just ridiculous stuff that only anime can get away with. And I also want to shout out to the Satoko's VA, Haruna Mikawa, who is doing an incredible job as Satoko, one of my favourite performances of the year so far. And then you got Kana Hanazawa as the other main Konoha. So in terms of voice acting, you are absolutely you're safe and sound here. There's some really fantastic performances that sell the comedy, that sell the characters, and even the emotional moments. It can get there given the dynamic between the two. It is more complex than it appears. And I mean, this show, I'm kind of expecting it to be, is very much Yuri adjacent in terms of the main two relationship. In terms of the other characters' relationships, like the clip I showed you is just a straight up married lesbian couple, which is always great to see in anime. And I think this show is really good because it's just not afraid to be itself. It's not afraid to do anything ridiculous, anything that will come out completely left field, but it all feels so natural at the same time, despite how just stupid and silly it can be. It all works, it all pays off, and it all it's just funny. It consistently makes me laugh. It's one of the few shows that I find myself consistently laughing at every week, and I look forward to every week. I just know I'm going to have a good time. And this is another show that is very underrated this season. Haven't seen really many people talk about it. So if you're looking for a comedy, if you're looking for some creative visuals and a fun visual direction that keeps you engaged, I couldn't recommend this enough. It's just a super fun time, and it's a really pleasant surprise for this season. It's a show I wouldn't usually end up even checking out, but I'm really glad I did. So yeah, let's go on to the next one.
北原正義。
それは忘れて。君、名前は？
オグリキャップ。
キャップ。頂点か。いい名だ。俺は北原城。俺と一緒に天下を取らないか。オグリキャップ。
And this, of course, is Umamusume Cinderella Grey, based off the manga. So this is a manga adaptation from the Umamusume franchise, and I'm sure this is a show that you're probably familiar with. It's been in the last few months, and in general, recently, the Umamusume has really become more popular, especially in the West. I know in Japan it's massive, but it's certainly making its move now over to Western spaces, which is great. I'm really happy because it's such a interesting premise, such a ridiculous premise that just works so well. And Cinderella Grey, I want to clarify that you can watch this without having seen anything else Umamusume related. It's a great entry point. Obviously, you've got Umamusume seasons 1 to 3. You have Umamusume Road to the Top and Umamusume the Beginning of a New Era, the movie. This one is a perfect starting point if you want to get into the series. I know a lot of people who are getting into the series watching this one first, and what I like about this entry in particular compared to the other ones is tonally it feels very different and it fits the manga perfectly. The kind of the main series of Umamusume can be very silly, feel a bit amateurish at times, but this one, I feel like it has a grasp on itself. It has a really strong identity, whether it's because of the visuals or because of the music and kind of the atmosphere it creates. It kind of feels comfortable in itself, if that makes any sense. And I've read the manga, I'm caught up on the manga. I mean, this first season is great, it's fantastic, but everything that's going to come after it, I'm pretty sure the second core is apparently going to be airing in October of this year, so definitely watch this and check out the other stuff in time for that. But yeah, this and the stuff that's going to be coming later on that will be eventually be adapted is even better than the stuff that's being shown here. And what I think is so cool about this, Umamusume in general, is, if you're not aware, it is a show about horse girls who obviously run against each other as horses would do in real life. So it's a sports anime of essentially a running sports anime, but it's all based on real life. It's all based on history and real horses and real horse races and those results. So it isn't, because of this, there's certain times you may expect certain things to happen because obviously it's a story and certain things happen in stories because that's just how stories go. But then you remember this is based on real life, so whatever your expectations are, just kind of throw them out the window, because it doesn't matter, because obviously real life is not a story. So, and it is very faithful to the things that happened to these horses and how the races went and how their careers went in these shows, and even down to the horses' personalities and quirks and character designs and how they come off and their habits. It is all accurate to how they were in real life and how they are in real life. So that's one thing when checking out this series, is do not search up stuff about the real life horses, because you'll spoil yourself on the anime, which is absolutely bizarre. It's ridiculous. But I mean, Umamusume at its core is incredibly silly and stupid. Its premise is just that, but it works perfectly. It is such a compelling sports anime. This entry in particular is it has a main character that is definitely not typical for the show. Definitely not typical in general for sports anime, I think. Very awkward kind of character who definitely isn't your stereotypical kind of bubbly sports protagonist who is super motivated and kind of one-track mind kind of thing. It's very interesting to compare this series and this franchise in general to other sports anime, because it does things differently, it feels like. And with the game will be coming out in English over here. I mean, as I'm recording this, it's tomorrow. You can pre-download it right now. I'm sure when this video comes out, the game will already be out, and I'll be on it myself. But yeah, Umamusume Cinderella great. It's one of the more popular shows out in this season, which is great. I'm really happy for that. But I couldn't recommend this enough to anyone who, one, likes sports anime, two, likes cute girls, three, likes idols. Yes, there's idol stuff in this and in the franchise, believe it or not. It's just a mismatch of ridiculous, crazy concepts and things that shouldn't work and shouldn't come together, but they just do. And it's super charming, super compelling, super fun, super emotional, and it's got visuals and direction and sound and just hype moments and aura as well that all come together to create such a fantastic show. And like I said, watch this, brace yourself for the stuff that's to come to be adapted. Check out the manga as well, because the manga art is amazing. But yeah, Umamusume Cinderella Grey, one of the best shows this season, one of the best, ended up being one of the best shows this year, and I couldn't recommend it enough for anyone, whether you're into Umamusume or not. Definitely check it out, and let's check out the next anime at that. So the next show on this list is Apocalypse Hotel, and that clip I just showed you is a little bit misleading. It's from an episode that tonally and in general just kind of stands out from the rest of the series. But this show is a kind of a show that feels like it's made by fans of anime for fans of anime, and it reminds me of why I love this medium so much. It's not that the premise itself is ridiculous, because it is simply about post-apocalyptic Earth with a hotel still running years and years after humans have already left the Earth because it's no longer inhabitable, and there's a robot that is still active and runs this hotel because that's all she knows how to do. That's how she's been programmed and what she's been told to do. And she welcomes lots of extraterrestrial guests and all sorts of different aliens and beings and species from outside of Earth, while she awaits the humans to eventually come back. And from that premise and from that and from the trailers and my kind of impression of the show I got before I started it was that it would be a Yashike kind of type show, a very quiet, chill, healing vibe, which is what kind of came across in the clip I showed you. But it is far from that. It's ended up being a comedy, almost entirely a comedy, and it's surreal, it's stupid, it's silly, it's ridiculous, much like Ninxkoro is, but to even higher extents. And it's just so much fun. Every week something is different. You no idea what to expect, no idea what could be coming next, and it pays homages to different sorts of genres and different sorts of tropes and cliches in anime and in storytelling in general. It's super self-aware of itself. It's super comfortable in its own skin, and it really comes across in the comedy and just how everything is portrayed. And it's pleasant because it also does have these quieter moments and these more emotional moments as this robot, this android, is changing, coming to terms with her situation and meeting new people and making these new connections, as these kind of series do in general, that we see androids and having to come to terms with immortality and stuff like that, and the life and sort of the time, all that kind of stuff that we mere mortal humans have to deal with. If you like shows like Yokohama Kajikiko or Girls Lost Tour or Humanity Has Declined, or the show that incredible show that came out last year, Train to the End of the World, this has that sort of vibe to it. Definitely more comedic on the kind of Train to the End of the World side and Humanity Has Declined side, but also definitely has a healing aspect to it, a very chill, pleasant atmosphere and vibe. It can do that while also having these ridiculous action set pieces and sequences and comedic gags and all sorts of stupid stuff that you could only find in anime like this. And it was such a pleasant surprise. It was similar to Ninxkoro. I looked forward to the experience every week. It's very clearly just a one and done show. You get everything that you want in the one core. And if you're a fan of anime, I can't recommend this enough, if that makes any kind of sense to you. But this show, it was super surprising, super pleasant, probably my second favourite of this season behind Shoshimin. And it's one you just kind of have to watch for yourself to really understand the charms of it. Visually as well, it's super impressive. It has a really unique art style, the art direction, the storyboarding, it all goes above and beyond at times, and to depict this post-apocalyptic world and this android living in it, and alongside it nails the comedic beats and comedic moments and sequences as well. So again, I couldn't recommend this enough. And this is actually the last show that I am talking about from spring. This was just kind of an all off the cuff. I had no script when I was recording this. I just kind of had the Annie list up on my monitor and just kind of waffled on about certain things. I don't want it to be too long. I kind of want I don't want to spoil too much or get into the shows too much. I want to let you experience it for yourself. So if you do end up watching any of these shows and enjoying them or not enjoying them, please do reply and let me know. Follow my Twitter. We can interact with me on there about the shows. If you did end up watching them, definitely worth checking out before the next season starts. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being here. If you're usually an Having My Go enjoyer, and you're here for other stuff as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you on the next one.